So what's my best piece of advice for running a clinical practice? It's so hard for me to know what my best advice would be. I would just give you a couple pieces. Let's see. One I got from Adam Seller, who you may or may not know, but Adam Seller said something to me that I got right off in the beginning of my clinical work that really stuck with me, and that is, if the person is not compliant, if your client is not compliant, they're not doing what you've asked them to do, the problem is with the practitioner, not with the client. So I think that's a really important one, because I will ask my clients if they're going to do it. If they're not going to do what I'm going to tell them, I'm not going to tell them to do that. Can't make people do things. Then let's see, what's some other advice? I'm a firm believer in not giving unasked for advice. If someone is talking about their tendinitis, I think it's inappropriate to come up and tell people, "Oh, I have some for your tendinitis." I think you have to wait until they ask you. I got that from Christopher Headley. He's on our team. He's gone also, another dead herbalist. But he was telling me this story about being on a bus, and he was from England and London, and so he was on this bus, and this woman was like, "Oh, you're an herbalist," and going on and on and on and on about her heart problems, and he's telling me this story. Then he said, "Of course, she never asked me for advice, so I didn't tell her anything." And I smiled. I really believe that's a good thing to live by. I think I have another thing for herbal practice, and that is follow-ups. I think it's really important to follow up, to call the person back and see how they're doing, even 3 or 4 days later. That's something I would have my interns do, is have people call the client back 3 or 4 days later and say, "Hey, have you started your plan yet? Is there anything we can do to help? Have you gotten the herbs or the vitamins or whatever?" I think those are some important things I would say about a clinical practice.